I have this theory that if I continue purchasing gym equipment, warehouse floor space will magically appear. Time to continue this never-ending game of Tetris. Does anyone need extra Titan fitness poles? Found another one. Thanks, Titan Fitness. 1,000 pounds. When the levee breaks, mama, you got to move. Let's hope that stays organized for at least the next hour. Untamed Strength is on its third location, meaning we had a first location, a second location, we moved to a third. Not meaning there's 3 separate locations. But at each location, my goal was to outgrow that location. We did it at the first, we did it the second. We're getting pretty damn close to outgrowing this third one. I would say having too much equipment is a good problem to have. Cheers to business gains. Good. Shoulder press. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good turn. Power lift is good. All right, before we start, I got to give a shout out to my sponsor. They've always been putting out good products for quite a while now. If you're looking to gain, they're definitely the company to go to. Always, I just can't say enough good things about this place. So shout out to you guys. When you're there, ask for discount code Animal Style, and they'll hook you up. The reason I'm making this video is a Q&A, but also a new piece of equipment here at Untamed Strength. A Viking press. Such here. Just like that. It's got a point here that you can raise up and down if you need to. Pull it out, up and down. It is a fine piece of equipment. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole story about getting this thing here, but it was an absolute nightmare. I ordered it December 18th, 2018. It is May 7th. This was from Watson Gym Equipment in the UK, and the shipping, for whatever reason, kept getting delayed over and over and over and over, and I've been waiting for it for 5 months now. I was also hit with a huge, after I paid for the equipment and the shipping, I was hit with a huge customs bill, which blindsided me. So call me naive, I just didn't know that there was going to be that big of a customs bill, which sucked. It's not Watson Gym Equipment's fault, but something that kind of hurt when I bought it. But it's here, it's a nice piece of equipment, and I'm excited about it. First few questions from Instagram. Ends Strength, which is Caleb, member at the gym. He says, sink bench into chest or light touch? Personal preference, or one have more benefits? Personally, I do not like to sink the bench. In some federations, that's not allowed, and you'll get red lighted. Once the bar touches your chest, if it travels, the bar travels down a certain distance based off the judge's eye, they can red light it. One of the members actually got 2 red lights last competition for that. So it's not allowed in some powerlifting meets. I also think that you're just relying on momentum and heave to try to get the bar up. So I'd rather stay tight. That's the biggest thing. Keep my arch high, stay tight for the whole set. Man, Matt Webb did 415 for 5 reps. 2 sets of 5 last night. Massonomics, excellent Jefferson, Big Allen. Questions. What makes Jefferson deadlifts the greatest deadlift variation of all time? Well, normal conventional deadlifts are actually just one-dimensional, and the Jefferson deadlift is three-dimensional. So you got 3D deadlifts. Pre-workout FAP, yay or nay? What you do in your alone time is none of my business. Bobby Alameda, what's your mile time? I got no idea. I could probably bust out like a 7-minute mile right now if I really wanted to. Best mile time was in the Marine Corps. I ran a 1.5 mile in 8 minutes and 20 seconds, which is like 5:30 average. And then I ran a 3 mile in 18 minutes and 1 second. So average of 6-minute mile for 3 miles. And that was a really hilly course too. So those are my bests. Right now, I think you'd probably do a 7-minute mile. What do you think, Punch Nugget? Think I got it in me?
Yeah.
I think this guy's name's Cognac. He says, what's the best course of action when you hit a wall with deadlift, 3x5? So if you want to immediately increase your deadlift and set a PR, put some singles in your routine, do some triples. So drop the volume, do heavier weight. So if you're plateaued and you want to get some quick gains, do that. If you want, what I'm assuming is you want long-term progress, you're going to need to deadlift more. So I would probably add in maybe 5 sets of 5, maybe add in a second deadlift day, a little bit lighter, and then go from there. So long-term, you're going to need to add some volume. Immediately, just do some triples and heavy singles, and you will most likely be able to add weight to the bar. Sojourner82, how do I best deal with some patellar tendonitis? Any and all of these pain questions, refer to the 4 steps for managing pain in the gym video by Austin Baraki on my channel. Barbell Medicine has tons of stuff on pain and rehab, so I would suggest starting there. But I would suggest finding an exercise that allows you to train. It doesn't bother it. So you might do a pin squat or a tempo squat or a pause squat. You might, if you're doing high bar squat, you might try a low bar squat where you're sitting into your hips, not letting your knees go so far forward. You might try a box squat slightly above parallel. There's a number of things you can do to work around it. So my answer would be work around it, find ways that you can still productively train, and let this thing get better on its own like most things do. Yeah, this thing's cool. Well done, Watson. Well done. Shame on you, customs and freight delivery. Ochiri Rekabar Bayar Armin. He says, why do powerlifters eat gummy worms mid-workout? They all do it. Very strange. I'm right there with you. Very strange. I don't know. Here it's more Sour Patch Kids, and I don't get it. The D Shive, Thed Shive.
Oh, that's Dawn.
Dawn?
Yeah.
How hot is the gym? It's not hot enough. I'm not training until it's over 100 degrees in here. T Aguilaro, what set and rep scheme is the cutoff for high volume? For example, is 8x3 considered high volume? So high volume, low volume is all relative. If you're doing 10 sets of 10 reps with 60%, and then I tell you need to do 5 sets of 10 reps at 60%, that'd be considered less volume, lower volume. If you're doing 3 sets of 3, and then I tell you to do 5 sets of 10, that's gonna be higher volume. So it's all relative to what you're doing right now. So is 8 sets of 3 considered high volume? Is 24 total reps considered high volume? I don't know, depends on how much you're doing right now. Marcus Juna Kalala. You guys need to get better Instagram handles. These are the worst. Have you had any issues with your nervous system not recovering fast enough to keep up with your training, even when your muscles recover fine? And how do you deal with it or treat it? I keep running into plateaus consistently because of this, simply because too exhausted from the CNS standpoint. I am gonna say that your CNS is probably not, how'd you put it? It's not that your CNS is not recovering, but with that said, your RPE, or your rate of perceived exertion, is very important, not just within a set, but in an entire workout or an entire week. If you leave the gym after a workout and you say, that workout was like RPE 10, that was really, really hard, I don't know if I could do it again tomorrow. If you leave, after a week and you say, that was one of the hardest weeks of training in my entire life, I don't know if I could do that again. That your RPE for consistently from session to session and from week to week is way too high. So you need to do a better job of auto-regulating. So I would suggest finding a better program. I know I'm always referring to Barbell Medicine, it's because I work with them, but go check out some of the programs they have on their website, barbellmedicine.com. Hikasi says, what would your program look like if you were training more for mass than performance. The program probably wouldn't look much different, but my diet would. I'd be eating way more. Want to put on weight, you gotta eat. Just a natty dude lifting some mediocre weights. Matt Cavallero says, best and worst parts of the USMC, United States Marine Corps. Best part was definitely the guys that I met, the bonds that I shared with them, and just having those experiences with those guys, I'll never forget. Even though I don't talk to a lot of them nowadays, if I was to run into them, we'd click immediately. The worst parts were, first off, being micromanaged. I was getting so sick and tired of being told what to do in every part of my life towards the end of the Marine Corps, and that's why I was inspired to start this gym. That's why I was inspired to name it Untamed. And also, I couldn't stand, at least where I was, the whole rank system. I understand it and I get it, but it really pissed me off to have to respect and listen to a shitbag or a person that I would consider a turd just because he was, you know, in the Marine Corps longer than me and he outranks me. So I didn't like that. Toe W.S. Steven says, is it okay to run Smolov Jr. on squat and bench at the same time, assuming you're not squatting and benching on the same day? So a lot of these programming questions, I don't know, need more context, meaning it depends on what you're already doing. If you're sitting on the couch and you want to do this, might not be the greatest idea, but it all depends on what you're acclimated to, how much volume you've been handling recently before you say, hey, should I do Smolov Jr. and Smolov, you know, for squat and bench? I would always ask, every time I take on a new client, it's always, what have you been doing for the last several months? A Steelman 1. Why do I get bruises on the inside of my wrists from deadlift and bench press? What? Bruises on the inside of my wrists from deadlifts and bench press. Dude, I do not know. Cannot figure that one out. Dylan Bringer 16, rings while lifting. Assuming you mean wedding ring. Yeah, I don't ever take this wedding ring off. I had a wedding ring that I could slide on and off when I lift, but I didn't like that feeling because it feels like it was always gonna fall off. This one is kind of stuck on there. I don't like the silicone rings. Don't like the feeling. Again, I don't like taking my ring off. However, did some strongman this past weekend with Joey, Stones, and Axel, and I somehow managed to chip it. Can you see that? Managed to chip it and it's about to crack. But I don't really even notice it. It does give a little bit, kind of a gnarly callus right underneath it, but no, it feels fine. I wear my ring. Zeppelin fan, when I use hook grip for deadlifts, I feel a ton of pressure in the pad of my thumb. Feels like I'm doing it wrong. Any advice? You're gonna feel tons of pressure. That's the whole point of it. It's supposed to put pressure in your thumb and lock yourself in position. So that pressure is fine and it's something that you'll probably get used to. With that, when you deadlift, make sure you get that son bitch as deep as you can. Don't grab the bar right here on the tip with your finger on the fingernail. Grab deep in your hand. Try to get as much finger on your thumb as you can. But the pressure, yeah, you certainly get pressure. That's like saying I get pressure on my upper back when I squat. Yeah, does it make sense? JD 2001 NY Guard. I've been considering joining the Marine Corps. Ironically, I found your channel one day, instantly taken by storm. Love lifting, have been waiting to enlist. What are some pointers you have going into boot camp, and is it worth it? Is it worth what? Is it worth it? I don't know what it is. But that question is for you to answer. Is opening a gym worth it? I don't know, you tell me, don't ask me. Is joining the Marine Corps worth it? I don't understand what that means. So it's up to you to decide that. But some pointers, know your knowledge. General orders, rank, know your Marine Corps history, know all that stuff so that when you're at boot camp, you're grilled with questions all the time. And every time you get it wrong, you get punished. You're gonna get punished probably anyways, but there's more eyes on you when you can't answer questions. And so they're asking you a bunch of questions, and in the stress of boot camp, if you don't know it off the top of your head, it's gonna be really hard to catch on. Some people go into boot camp never studying this stuff, they don't know their general orders, and it's really, really hard for them. So know your knowledge, and be really good at pull-ups and running. Why do you think there are so many federations, this is pooped herself. Why do you think there are so many federations that allow high squats to get red lighted? I think you mean high squats to get white lighted. I don't know, I don't care. Powerlifting is stupid. Earthly Certainty says, why do hunks think they know everything? Just a bunch of dinguses. Jakey2795, any tips on what to do if you go over your scheduled RPE for a set? So I need an example, but I'll give you an example. If I was supposed to do 5 reps at RP 7, 5 reps at RP 8, 5 reps at RP 9, and I did 5 reps at RP 7, on my 5 reps at RP 8 set, I accidentally overshot, and it was 5 reps, I would say, at RP 9. I would just repeat that again for my last set of 5 reps at RP 9. So that's the answer. It's okay if it's not perfect. RP is just kind of getting in the ballpark, so not a big deal. I'd probably just repeat it. In your experience, what is the best way to balance powerlifting and general strength training while maintaining a high PFT performance? This is from, whoa, this dude's name is the Iron Lunch Bucket. Punch Nugget, you joining? Yeah. Khabib, you joining?
It's Lunch Bucket! Lunch Buckets! Maybe Punch Nugget can. Punch Nugget! Lunch Buckets!
New guy to see this. Let's get up and
I beat you!
Okay, yeah. Oh, whoa, what's this?
Punch Nugget.
Oh, okay. Punch Nugget.
It's Lunch Bucket! Lunch Buckets!
In your experience, what is the best way to balance powerlifting and general strength training while maintaining a high PFT performance? So I will say that in the Marine Corps, when my PFT was at its best, I didn't really lift, and I wasn't into powerlifting or strongman. Once I started getting into lifting and gaining weight and getting more into strongman, I got really strong, but my PFT performance went way down. So I don't really have an answer for you, but good news is, Matt over at the Lion's Den with Joey Zatmary is making a YouTube video for my channel about this topic. So stand by for that. Logan Smith 10, best ways to increase your deadlift. Deadlift, deadlift, deadlift. Micah Lift, last meal if you were on death row. It's gonna be fajitas, chicken, steak, shrimp, all the fixins, peppers, onions, rice, beans, corn tortillas, flour tortillas, sour cream, guacamole, some pico de gallo, probably a tall, cold Dos Equis, and of course ice cream after. Sasan's strength. Have you ever had to terminate someone's gym membership? If so, why? Yes, one guy, I will not go into details, and I won't put it on YouTube, but he was basically harassing a member. No legal action was taken, so don't freak out, but he was harassing members. Evan LeBlanc, what do you recommend I do with my hair while I'm in an awkward growth phase? Just gotta ride it out. Your hair gets to the point where it's like short long, and so it just looks like you need a haircut. I used to wear it used to like float around and get in my eyes, so I'd wear a bandana to hold it in place, and then when it got long enough, I'd put it in a ponytail. Stana Spring, are you going to compete again? Yes, probably a strongman competition again before I do a powerlifting meet, but who knows. Captain Kirky, will you be at the Barbell Medicine Seminar in Chicago? Yes, it's actually next weekend. Baby's got Beck. What is your opinion on trap bar movements? Do you incorporate them into your own training? I only do them on like a pivot week or a pivot block where I'm just doing different things. If I was training for a strongman competition, I might add it in. But usually I deadlift twice a week. One of them is a normal deadlift. The other one's a deadlift variation. And if I'm really trying to drive my deadlift up, I'm gonna pick close variations of the deadlift. I know I sound like a broken record. And trap bar deadlifts, not so much. But I do program it in for my clients who just are doing a general strength training, don't really have any specific meets coming up. They don't need to be really specific. They have a broad exercise selection, so I'll do trap bar deadlifts for that. So I think it's good. I just don't really do it often. Jeffrey Lotto, favorite milkshake flavor? Most of the time, probably chocolate. I wrestled the bear one time. What's the heaviest song you play while lifting? There's no limit to heavy in this gym to too heavy, but I'll give you guys a song to go listen to. Sepultura, Arise. That's probably a PR song every time it's played. Dakota, what made you decide to get into strongman? I've talked about this in a lot of videos. Just type in Alan Thrall strongman. I think I have like the story of me getting into strongman, but it was basically when I was in the Marine Corps, the gym was closed often, and I had a friend who would do strongman with me. We had a tire on base, we would flip that. We had a telephone pole, it was like cut in half, so it was probably like 200-pound pole, and we would like try to put it on our back and squat with it or do lunges with it, or try to do like a Fingal's finger with it. And then he actually made a stone, and we would lift that. So we would train that way a lot if the gym was closed, or if we were in trouble and they said don't go to the gym, we'd just go do strongman. And then I found a competition that was kind of in the area, and so I went one weekend to compete in that competition without Chain of Command's approval. They didn't know I was gone. Brandon Van Grol, best and worst time in CDS. I assume you are a Marine, probably at 8th and I. CDS is ceremonial drill school. It's what the training you have to go through before you become a body bearer. It all sucked, and if you've been through it, you know it was worse than boot camp. I would say that the worst part is when all of my CDS mates either graduated or were kicked out, so I was the only one. So for a good amount of time, I was the only one in CDS. So it was like 10, 15 body bearers that would come down and just fuck with me every morning. So I hated that. Beveled eggs. What's Polka's favorite lift? Polka is a squatter. She got short, very short femurs, long torso, just a boom, down and up. Big Brun 12, balancing training and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 3 to 6 times per week. Don't ask me, go ask Joey Zatmary. He's been doing both of those. Shelly Shin, when there's a workout prescription on a program that's 5 sets at RP8, should the weights be performed as sets across at constant weight, or should the weight be altered slightly each set to maintain the desired RP value for that set? Maintain the value of RP8. Don't overthink it. Generally, you can probably maintain RP8 depending on your conditioning or your, I don't know, work capacity. You can maintain RP8, 5 reps for a handful of sets. But if you need to, if it starts creeping up to 9, then drop the weight so that you can maintain RP8. That's the whole point. It's auto-regulation. You're kind of regulating the weight. It's not a set, 5 sets of 5 with 80%. So that's up to you. Troy Crossman, top 5 metalcore bands. I don't have a top 5, but I do like Kill Switch Engage and All the Remains. Naomi, when you bulked from 165 to 255, how strong were you at that body weight? How much weight were you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Are you strong? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so when I went from 165, that was after boot camp, and I was not lifting at the time. I was super weak. I'd probably squat 135 for a couple reps. But when I did start lifting, I remember it was in School of Infantry, which is after boot camp. Started lifting again, and I remember being pretty happy about doing 135 for 10 reps. Not that it was like a crazy max, but I just remember putting it on my back and saying I want to do 10 reps of this. So that's kind of where I started. And then when I was at 255 in the body bear section, I did 315 squat for 30 reps. Probably could have done more, but I just stopped because 30 was a cool number. So strength went up a lot with all that body weight. It feels a little bit easier. Tyler, you want to try this? Sure. Come on in. So you can either grab the horizontal bars or the vertical bars.
All right.
Pretty cool, huh?
I like that.
Yeah, it's nice. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. John, punch nugget. You got any questions? Got any comments? There were a whole bunch of punch nugget questions, like is punch nugget natty? When's Khabib's next fight? Anything?
My next fight will be June 1st.
Ooh, next fight. I like that. June 1st. John will be fighting, Khabib will be fighting here at Untamed Strength. Welterweight or featherweight? Middleweight? Heavyweight?
Featherweight.
Featherweight.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Until next time, always remember.
Tread on time.